Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. Touchdowns on liquid air, on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
There we go. What's going on? Thank you, Tiff. I realized that after I started the intro. I do that a lot. My bad. I appreciate you. We going live at lunch. Me and Tone were scheduled to go today, but Tone hit me up. Apparently, there were some bad storms down in Texas, down his way. So he was having internet trouble. So we kicked it back. We moved it back to we're gonna do something tonight. You got the NFL OTAs coming up. A lot of stuff going on, man. What's going on, Carlos? Shout out to Tiffany Dark Chocolate. She was first out the limo today. Key Shoddy was right next to her. So I appreciate y'all. Chris the Rikage Bruce. And always Carlos, man. Always showing love, man. So I appreciate y'all. Got a little bit of stuff, man. Let's first go over the rules. Even though I must say I am on vacation this week. I took the week off. But live at lunch, the rules go as follows. I will be before you very quickly, get done probably around 1-ish. I can go a little bit longer today, but I'll keep it short because I'm going to go again tonight. But you should have plenty enough time to finish your sandwich, wash your hands, and get back to business, right? So we're going to do that, man. 2 big topics I was looking at today. Number one, Caitlin Clark and the WNBA getting hurt out 2 weeks and everybody losing their collective shit. We'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about OTAs. And one thing that I think about where you can take both worlds, WNBA and NFL, is the your perceived or the fan perception of certain athletes, certain situations, or just the league in general. And what I mean by that is today, shout out to my guy Brooklyn 80s on his podcast. I saw in his chat on Instagram. He had power rankings out for the WNBA. And you guys have been with me long enough to know I don't want to see any type of rankings until I get a good sample size of what I'm watching. In the WNBA, they play 4 games. Most teams have played 4 games. I'm going to withhold judgment till we get to 10. And to me, that's fair. That way you've seen all the good, all the bad, all the warts, all of that stuff. And you can get a better understanding. I do the same thing in football. Y'all already know. I hate lists. I hate rankings in the first week because it's useless. You don't know what's going to happen. Look at all of them people that, if they even did it, had the Jets ranked, and then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Or the projections and all that kind of stuff. Just put a pause on it, pump your brakes a little bit. Let's get a little sample size of the season and see what we got. Then once you get to week 4 in the NFL, once you get to week, it ain't even got to be game number 10 in the WNBA. Let's give it at least 7 to 8 games. Me personally, I like to wait till 10, and then you get a real sense of what you're looking at. But in the situation with the W right now, Caitlin Clark got hurt. She's got a quad strain, I think this is what they called it. So she's going to be sitting out for 2 weeks, and everybody is literally losing their shit. I'm literally working on a video right now about that. I had to stop, had to make wifey some breakfast. But I am making a very tongue-in-cheek video about the WNBA fans and Caitlin Clark fans, Caitlin Clark haters, Angel Reese fans, Angel Reese haters, and the collective outlook of the WNBA. It's funny to me sometimes. I say it all the time. Fandom and what really happens in locker rooms and in these board meetings and GMs and owners and stuff like that is so far apart. Like, people really don't understand what's going on. Even if you're not into football, and let me say this, even if you're not into football, if you are a sports fan, you owe it to yourself. Go on either, I think it was WIP in Philadelphia, but I'm sure it'll be available on the internet. Go check out their interview with Jason Kelsey and his experience going to the owners meeting, politicking for the tush push. Listen to that interview and listen to his perception and his experience going through that. I thought it was very interesting because you always think of certain things that owners will do, or they just got the money, they just trying to do this. Roger Goodell he working for the owner, so he's trying to stick it to the players. And it was very interesting and refreshing to hear his take on what he saw in those rooms. And it's not what you think. And he says as much. It's not what you think. They do take this type of stuff seriously. They are passionate about their teams. Now, I'm sure there are some people and some owners that for them it's just another paycheck. It's just another way that they can earn an extra $300 million during the year. Some people there are like that. They don't care. I don't care what you do. Vote on it. I don't, whatever. I'm voting which way the majority goes. There probably are some people like that. But based on the interview with Jason Kelsey what I took from it is that he was very surprised at how passionate and how in depth they get, and like they ain't trying to ruin the league. They're not trying to screw up the golden goose. They're not trying to do that at all. So I thought that was very interesting. So everybody, if you get a chance, check that out. Check out the interview with Jason Kelsey, and check out the interview with Dawn Staley on the Breakfast Club. We'll go back and forth. The WNBA and the NFL. So those take out Jason Kelsey on WIP. If you're not in Philadelphia, you can look it up on YouTube and check out Dawn Staley when she did her interview with Charlemagne and DJ Envy on the Breakfast Club. Both of them were phenomenal. I am going to make it a point this week. I am going to buy Dawn Staley's book. I'm going to buy that book after seeing that interview, and not for nothing else, just to support. She a North Philly girl, got to support. But the interview and the process and the mindset of coaches and people that have played at the professional level, it always amazes me. And then you look at people and you kind of sit back, like, damn, now I understand why she made it. You know what I mean? She says she wants to be an owner. She's making moves and doing some things. And she ain't had nothing bad to say about Malaysia. It sounds it was sounding a certain way, but then she cleared the air like, hey, I put this book out months before Malaysia made that decision. But it's funny how when you hear her talk about the book and then you think, well, she's just saying this because of what happened with Malaysia, because they asked her about Malaysia specifically. And I thought her answers were great. It wasn't, well, she did it, and she told it up. She straight up. She said Malaysia and her mom came to me and said what she wanted to do. She said she was thinking about getting in the portal. And Dawn Staley said something interesting. I thought it was great. Very subtle. She said, are you thinking about going, or you going? And then she kind of like, yeah, I know I'm going to the portal. Very interesting point, because a lot of times people will come at you with certain information or a certain conversation because they don't know where your head's at, or they don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to react. Or they might come asking a question and they don't really want to ask the question until they can somehow, some way try to gauge of what you might say. They're trying to put the cart before the horse. Just say what you got to say. And I thought that was a great, great lesson for anything out there, any sport. Football, baseball. I look at the stuff that's going on in the W, and all the stuff we had for the last friggin' week, because Caden Clark did a take foul, and I was on my man Brooklyn's podcast, and he thought he disagreed with me because I was like, dude, it was a take foul. It was a regular. It wasn't nothing crazy about it. He thought something different. He was like, I've been around basketball. I've seen it. That's not a take foul. And I was like, well, we'll agree to disagree. But I appreciate the conversation. So everybody gonna feel a certain kind of way. But at the end of the day, Dawn Staley says she wears her heart on her sleeve. And she ain't got time to wonder what woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like, let's put it out there and let's deal with it. And her comments were coming from a place of, I didn't want Mylasia to leave. She knows that I love her. And now that you've made this decision, if you're not happy here, I want you to be happy. Let's see what we can figure out and do what's best for you. Because she made a good point. Dawn made a good point. She said, do you know how hard it was for Mylasia to come into my office and tell me she wanted to go to the portal? And she's from South Carolina. She's from that town where the school is. So essentially, she's leaving her hometown to do something different. Now, I know my personal beliefs. I know what I personally think. I think that might have a little bit to do with her mom. Well, you should be doing this and you should be doing that, and they should be playing you more. And we got a chance to. Here's the thing now that you have to take into consideration in this day and age. We have to consider where we can go, where we can make more money. That is a legitimate conversation with college athletes now. They come in there collectively, and back in the day, when the coach would go in your living room and promise you the world, and you come to me and I'll make him a star and I'll take care of him, make sure he graduates. But nobody ever talks about all of the athletes that they let flunk out. When I say they let flunk out, because when you are at these big colleges, when you're at LSU, when you're at Tennessee and Oklahoma and Notre Dame, and when you at all of those big schools, Ohio State, Florida, Miami, all of them, Alabama, all of those big schools that generate millions, millions in revenue every year. And you got a particular player that is a huge part of that revenue stream. That leash is long. And you would think that Mylasia for Wiley, in this particular case, talking about South Carolina Gamecocks and Dawn Staley, her leash would be a little bit longer. However, Dawn Staley let it be known, I'm coaching a certain way. I've got expectation from these players. So Dawn, in my opinion, Dawn Staley is still holding on to the old way to do it. And I like it. That's the way you should do, because you can't have the inmates running the asylum, right? Because if something go wrong, they want to blame it on her. She can't keep her program in check. And how do you keep a program in check if the kids in the program ain't got to listen to you? Because in some situations, a lot of situations now, they make more than you do. Look at the situation with Rutgers and Keomi McMiller. Everybody was coming to see her, but the coach had to make a decision because something was going on, and the coach didn't like what she was doing, and she sat her down in the biggest game that Rutgers had that year, playing Juju Watkins in USC. And they sat the best player because people were waiting to see that matchup. So whatever Keomi may have done, the coach thought that she had to sit her down. And then all hell breaks loose. She gets on Instagram, mad, finishes the year. Man, the ink wasn't dry. And she was already in the transfer portal, getting up out of there. But then she goes to Penn State. Penn State was worse than damn Rutgers. Why you go to Penn State? And my guess, my opinion, she went for the money. Penn State had money to pay her because they damn sure not winning. So winning is not the issue. You trying to be a big fish in a little pond. Well, Penn State ain't necessarily a little pond, but they not, they not winning. So they're not a powerhouse. And I believe ain't they in the same conference? So she didn't gain anything. You playing in the same conference. You playing on another losing team. So what's the best that's gonna happen? You gonna win a couple extra games? Your profile is gonna be the same if you in the same conference. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But it's interesting how this stuff plays out. Now, the situation with Caitlin Clark, everybody's losing their shit because she got hurt, and of course, uh, everybody that are troll fans for Caitlin Clark, everybody's saying the same thing. Wait and see. Let's see what the viewership and the attendance does now that Caitlin Clark is not playing. Everybody wants to see that, and I'm like, I'm sure that the attendance is going to dip a little bit, but they'll be all right. They're used to this. They ain't turned a profit in 30 years. The WNBA is used to this. But to me, it clearly shows which people are actually fans of women's basketball and which people aren't. Because if you're a fan of basketball, you want the league to thrive. You want the league to grow. You don't care if how can I say this? You don't care who opens the door. The door was finally kicked in, and there's people complaining of who kicked the door in. That's like somebody giving you a bag full of $1 million and you complaining because they all $5 bills. Take the money. That's what some of these people are doing in the W, or some of these fans are doing in the W. Now, granted, some of the behavior by a lot of the players in the league last year was deplorable. It was horrible. Y'all understand what y'all was seeing, but because it was this certain person and y'all was feeling some kind of way, you was kicking the gift horse in the mouth. Y'all was effing with the money. The internet stuff didn't slow down, but the overall, I don't know, acceptance of the players in the league has kind of eased out. You got some people that still put out narratives out there like that, and it's like, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Yeah, but Dave, that's a great point. But tell me, is that any different than what happens in the league when LeBron is on load management, or Steph is on load management, or when Joel Embiid was on load management, and somebody, spent their last, their vacation money or whatever to buy them tickets, them super expensive tickets, and then the dude you bought the tickets for to see play ain't playing. What do? Some people will sell the tickets. They take the L because I ain't going. If I ain't going if Luka ain't playing. I ain't going if Steph can't play. I ain't going if LeBron can't play. Ja Morant, he not playing. He's still suspended. Nah, I'm selling these tickets. Happens all the time. But again, when the stuff happens in the WNBA, people collectively lose their shit. What up, Wody Matt? Yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting 2 weeks. And to me, again, I said it before. I don't know if you was listening, Wody. The WNBA been losing money for 30 years. They are used to this. If any league knows how to handle a dip in attendance and membership and viewership and all of that, the WNBA is used to this. They know how to handle this. So she gonna miss 2 weeks. The attendance and stuff is gonna dip, and I don't think it's gonna dip everywhere. I think New York is gonna be fine. I think Vegas is gonna be fine. It's all of these other teams that's been talking all of this other kind of crap. They talked all of that shit with Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers can't do nothing with the attendance in Dallas. Dallas ain't a women's basketball community. They're a Dallas Cowboys community. They're a Dallas Mavericks community. You would think the attendance would tick up a little bit after what the Mavericks just did to their franchise down there. You would think that the Dallas Wings would figure out a marketing scheme where they could capitalize on that. Haven't done it. And now you got a situation where it's a couple teams that you didn't expect to be pretty good that are actually pretty good. DC Mystics are pretty good. What's their attendance looking like? Golden State Valkyries, they looking pretty good. What is their attendance looking like? Now, we got two whole different demographics right now. DC Mystics are clearly a better team, But you know, Golden State, they in a basketball town. You got LeBron and Steph tweeting about Caitlin Clark and other players and coming to games, and the Pacers coming to Indiana Fever's game. Now that's the next step in this. Now you got the has generated enough interest. So now the pro players start coming to games and supporting and stuff like that. And you know the WNBA, they jumping at every chance they get. I don't know who it was the other day. Oh, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was at an LA Sparks game. Was it LA Sparks or Golden State? I can't remember. Or maybe they were playing each other. But Aaron Donald was there, and I didn't even hear the interview. I just saw it was him. And then the next thing I know, the lady that's doing the interview is interviewing his wife. And I was like, that was cool. Maybe she's the support, and he's supporting his wife. So he's just there to offer his star power. However it played out, I thought that was cool. And that's what the WNBA is finally starting to get. You're finally starting to get these A-list athletic celebrities that are coming to games. Serena Williams just bought part of the Toronto team. So eventually she going to be at some games, but now they got that star power. And that's going to build up their longevity. That's what they needed. But all of these people, I saw people, and I think there's a let me back up a little bit. What I'm starting to see is if there's a lot of negative content about whatever on the W, it's not like it's a lot of negative stuff. It is what it's always been. But what I found is it seems like everybody will go and pick up the same Twitter, the same tweet, or the same Instagram post that got popular, and everybody's talking about the same stuff. That happened to me last week when all of the stuff came out after Indiana destroyed Chicago at home, and then all of the rumors started about the racial sounds and stuff coming from the court, from the arena. And then it was like, well, where is this coming from? And then it was one girl who tweeted her experience, and everybody ran to that tweet. So everybody was posting the same stuff and regurgitating this young lady's information. And it wasn't from a bunch of different sources. They did the same thing with the Brittany Griner situation. I did a video about the Brittany Griner situation, and I was like, y'all are stupid. And stuff like that, it is very clear that people aren't watching the games. They're looking for headlines, and then they talk about the headlines. They don't watch the games. So that's what I'm making a difference. And I tried to do this last year, but people gonna believe what they believe. You see who watches games, who are real fans, and who are just trolls. Trolls are the people that want to come in on an event, on a topic, and they want to have something to say about that, not the league. That's where they got to make the distinction. So all of these Caitlin Clark fans or stands or whatever the hell they want to call them, make the distinction on people that follow the league and people that just want to capitalize on an event or a person. They don't care about the league. I'm not the biggest Brittany Griner fan, not by a long shot, but she didn't say that shit. I ain't gonna lie on her. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And anybody that watched the game saw when she fouled out. She fouled out because she caught Natasha Howard in the throat and was mad about it. Okay. And then next thing you know is trash ass white girl and all that type of stuff. And I was like, and admittedly, again, let's keep it a buck. When I saw it, I was like, ooh, that's not a good look. Think you got to do your homework, which is the problem. Nobody does their homework. Nobody does any research. They're taking all of this crap on social media at face value. And it's like, what are you doing? If you watch the game, she fouled out when she hit Natasha Howard, and she was mad at that call. Caitlin Clark wasn't even involved in the play. So the context didn't even sound right. But nobody wanted to do their homework. And I start calling these people, they run around like tattletales, making these videos. Ooh, did you see what she did? Like they a tattletale talking to their grandmama. Did you see what they did, grandmom? Did they see? Did you see what they did? They tattletales. And they're not even right. They're not even giving correct information. So, man, I made it a conscious effort. Keep it basketball. Keep it 100. That's what I'm trying to do. And if you see me not doing that, you got every right to call me out on it. Put it in the chat, put it in the text. Last week, I was talking about the Eagles. A couple days ago, I was talking about the Eagles and totally forgot that they got their ass kicked in by Tampa Bay. And everybody quickly reminded me of that. And you know what? When I screw up, let me know. I'm not better than everybody else. But people, man, these keyboard warriors, they think they untouchable. And it's like, man, y'all putting out nonsense. But I got to look at the audience, the people out there. It's like, y'all better start doing your homework. Y'all better start doing some research on some of the shit that these dudes is putting out. Because common sense will tell you that that's not right. It's not true. It ain't even true. So, yeah, that's my soapbox. That's my soapbox. Yeah, Dave, it was, I don't read lips, but I understand what she said. But when you put it in the context, I'm like, she said that was a trash ass whack call. She didn't say it was Caitlyn was a trash ass white girl. I'm like, golly, like, stop it. Stop it. Somebody from the Knicks said they had to hurry up because they had to go watch the WNBA. Ha! That's funny. I tell you what, New York is making some moves. People are interested in watching New York. One of my favorite players from last year was Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones was one of my first five. What my first five was is when I got into the WNBA. Now, let me remind everybody, this is only my second year as a full-time WNBA fan. And I always preface that to let people know I'm not one of these dudes out here trying to claim like I've been watching it for years. I am not. I will say I am the type of fan that the WNBA is looking for. I am the guy that didn't give a shit about the WNBA 3 and 4 years ago. And now I am creating content. I'm spending money. I'm buying merch. I'm the kind of fan that the WNBA wants because now I'm invested. That's what they're looking for. I didn't watch it when Candace Parker played or Cheryl Swoops played or Ella Del Don or I didn't watch most of Diana Taurasi's career. I watched more Diana Taurasi at UConn than I did in the W. Y'all know how I got here. I got here because of Kelsey Mitchell, point period in the paragraph. And Kelsey Mitchell led me to the Caitlin Clark and everything else. But this was a Kelsey Mitchell support thing for me. If you don't know my history with Kelsey Mitchell's father, go check out one of my videos. But yeah, Keisha, you already know. You already know. So I'm just trying to keep it basketball. So yeah, there's some teams that are making money, and I've said this before. I got to give, and I again, I try to make a point to say this all the time. I try to give credit to Asia Wilson because before I followed the WNBA, I had heard stories about what Asia Wilson was doing in Las Vegas. I heard news reports of the Las Vegas Aces selling out their season tickets before the season began. I heard those stories and I wasn't paying attention. So to me, that means they're getting through the threshold. They're making news and people are paying attention that don't normally pay attention. That's how you know what's going up. You find somebody in your family or somebody that you know that don't give a damn about WNBA basketball or women's sports in particular, and you say Caitlin Clark and see if they know who you're talking about. Say Angel Reese, see if they know who you're talking about. Or at the very least, I know I've heard that name before, but what does she do? At least they've heard the names are in the lexicon now. That's how you know the WNBA has breached that threshold and they're on a steady incline now. The whole situation with Caitlin Clark, which was supposed to be what this topic was about in the first place. This is just a hiccup. They getting a drop. They climbing, and just like the stock, they climb. They coming down in the valley. The price is dropping, and it's gonna go up again. That's what happens with everything, every sport. Yeah, man. But Dave, that's the good thing about it. That's that point specifically. That's the perfect example, because there are a ton of people that don't know anything about Jackie Styles. Somebody is gonna find out. Somebody is gonna figure out the benefit of YouTube and gonna look up Jackie Styles and gonna be like, oh shit, she can ball. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Everybody didn't see Jackie Styles. Everybody didn't see Cheryl Swoops. Everybody didn't see Tina Thompson or Lisa Leslie or Rebecca Lobo or Candace Parker. Nobody saw when Candace Parker dunked for the first time in the W. That was a huge moment. The first time Brittany Griner dunked with two hands. That was a huge moment. Unfortunately, at that particular time, the way the environment was, it wasn't ready. Can you imagine if Brittany Griner would have dunked with two hands like she did? Go back and look at that dunk. I believe she was with Phoenix at the time. She had the long braids and everything. She went up and dunked with two hands and tried to pull the rim down and everything. And I was like, wow, if we could see something like that now, what it would do for the league, the excitement it would generate for the league, whether you like it or not. You just want to see it. At least I do. That's why I want to see Dominique Malonga. That's why I want to see Kiki Iriafen. And in a couple of years, I want to see Toby Fournier. And hopefully next year, I want to see Ashlyn Watkins. All of them can dunk. So eventually they're going to break through that threshold. Um, Alyssa Thomas, Stalking Rookies. Yeah. Yeah. Kiki Iriafen is not intimidated. She is not the one. And you know what? Here's the thing with Kiki that's different than everybody else. You can tell by Kiki, she has been trained. She knows how to fight. She knows how to handle herself in a situation. Because if you don't know how to fight or handle yourself, you're not walking into situations like that. You're not. Kiki knows how to handle herself. I don't know if she knows Brazilian jiu-jitsu, if her father taught her, you know, Krav Maga. I don't know what it is, but clearly, and it ain't just because she a big girl. Clearly, she knows how to handle herself. Because let me be honest with you, when I saw that hip toss when she threw Sophie Cunningham, that was a great hip toss. That was a phenomenal hip toss. So I don't know if she know Taekwondo. I don't know if she know Aikido. She knows something. She knows some CQC somewhere in there, because that hip toss, she kicked that leg just enough, and man, she knew what the hell she was doing. She knew what the hell she was doing. So I like it. Yeah, I've seen Malonga dunk in Euroball. Absolutely, I want to see her do it in the WNBA. I saw Brittany Griner dunk in Unrivaled. Great, do that shit in a W. But and again, I can't put that on Brittany because she's already done it. Unfortunately, wasn't nobody watching. Unfortunately, I can only believe everybody that tell me how good Sue Bird was. Unfortunately, I wasn't watching and didn't care back then. Now I do. I wish Candace Parker would have stayed with Chicago for one more year. And this is my opinion. This is just my opinion. If Candace Parker would have stayed with Chicago Sky one more year, the whole outlook of Angel Reese would be totally different. That's my opinion. Because she would have had somebody on site to look out for, somebody that she could look up to, and somebody that could show her that was the biggest of the big in this league, that could show her, like, hold on, Rook, let me take you under the wing and show you what's what. I was hoping that she would get that one more year, because we all know that Angel Reese was a little rough around the edges. People forget they won the national title and then she was kicked off the team for 2 weeks, or she was missing, or she took a break, or whatever excuse that they were given. She wasn't on the team for 2 weeks. But I wish that it could have been Angel Reese and Candace Parker just for a season. Just for a season. In my opinion, if Candace Parker is there and Teaspoon is there and Angel Reese is there, the first season, Angel Reese's rookie season is totally different. She still may have got the awards, or she may not have had as many rebounds with Candace Parker sitting there, but I think her rookie year is still just as good, if not better, because you got a veteran that can kind of help you steer the ship a little bit. I wish we could have saw that with Angel Reese. I think the outlook on Angel Reese would have been 180 degrees. It would have been totally different. Totally different. Candace Parker retired last year, I believe. Officially retired last year. So, I just wish it would have been a little different. We all know what the situation with Angel Reese is, and I'll tell anybody, I like Angel Reese. Until somebody can figure out a way to stop her from getting them damn rebounds, I don't care if they put backs or not. If they put backs, that means somebody's sitting there watching her put the ball back, and ain't nobody trying to jump up with her. Ain't nobody trying to time they jump. So I don't care how she get the rebounds. The point of the matter is she getting them. And if you don't like her getting them, if you want to bitch, moan, and complain, and you say they stat padding and all of that kind of stuff, stop her. Stop her. That's just how I look at it. But she's put her own foot in her mouth, you know. And with Angel Reese specifically, in my opinion, and this is weird, not weird, but when she made that statement about it's not just one person that's drawing attention to the league, it's me too. When she said that, she wasn't wrong. She was 100% correct. Caitlin Clark was on the incline, but when Iowa and LSU happened in the national championship game, that went through the roof. That's when it started. Because if people this was not the issue. If people remember, the issue was after LSU lost, then all of a sudden Jill Biden wants to invite both teams to the White House. Now you moving the goalpost? Hold on. The winner goes to the White. What is this? People forget that part. They worried about this, and she's unsportsmanlike and blah blah blah. CJ, my bad. I'm going through some of them. I'm not going through all of the comments, but I will though. I appreciate you. I will. So I'll start with yours. Can you please read the comments as they pop up? I'm listening to your stream and not watching it. Thanks. Listen, that's the kind of feedback I want, man. Sure, I absolutely will. I absolutely will. My man Dave didn't Candace Parker didn't she finish in Vegas? And I thought it was Chicago. I could be wrong, Dave. I thought it was Chicago. You could be right. Hi, Wody Mac says Jill Biden saw the logo 3 and said, damn, that white lady good. Oh my God. But do y'all remember that? That was a big thing. And it was like, you ain't gonna change the rules now because you don't like LSU or you don't like Kim Mulkey. That's when all of that stuff started, and people forget. So before I go any further, let me go back to the original point. So when Angel Reese said, she was saying I was part of that moment, and she was 100% correct. The problem is, in my opinion, it's like the pretty girl in school. It just sounds different if she's the one saying how pretty she is, if that makes sense. It's one thing if everybody tell you how good you are. It's another thing when you say it, because now it's like you bragging. It's like you conceited. It's like me. whether right or wrong, or whether you agree or disagree. To me, the optics of it aren't good. So when she said that, it sounded like the optics were she was reaching out, saying, "Hey, pay attention to me too. Me too. I'm still here. I can do it. I'm part of this." And she's not wrong, but it's just not the same look as if somebody else said it. If somebody else was like Angel Reese and you understand what I'm saying? So, and then when she made them comments about being the villain and all that type of stuff, and then she's put her foot in her mouth a couple times. But for the most part, again, I'm like, and who doesn't? Everybody get a turn. The issue with Bluter called playing South Carolina a barroom brawl in the paint, and certain media, social media, try to call it racist. Yes, I remember that. LSU was getting revenge for that, and CC not respecting the SC players. You know what's funny? Do y'all remember when Haley Van Lith told the story of the John Cena move by Caitlin Clark? Haley Van Lith, who plays for LSU, told the story on what was behind that. And it wasn't, and this is what she said. This is what Haley Van Lith said. She said it wasn't at a player. It was something. It was she was doing that at one of the trainers or equipment guys or something like that. But based on what Haley Van Lith said, when it originally happened, it wasn't. She was trying to face up another player. It wasn't like that. Now Haley Van Lith told that story. A LSU player told that story. Caitlin Clark didn't say that, but the national media, Dave, to your point, they like to take stuff and run with it, and that's exactly what happened. And then it was now when Angel Reese did the ring thing. That was now. I will say this: it wasn't a good look because Angel Reese kept following around doing the same thing. Talk your talk and keep it moving. And it wasn't a good look that you in somebody's face and the game is over, but you following them around and pointing at the ring and all of that type of stuff. No, that's not a good look. So in situations like that, you get what you get. But I understand it. I understand it because Caden Clark talked more shit than anyone. Don't get that twisted. She talks more shit than anybody when she on that court. And I ain't got a problem with that because you own the court. That's what it was. It was a strength coach, but that's not Angel. Kishore, what do you mean it's not Angel's flavor? Explain that when you say that. I don't understand what you mean. Yeah, when she was that happened when Haley Van Lith was at Louisville, but she still told the story when she was at LSU. Dave, let me tell you something. That if it pissed you off when she stalked her like that, that's part of the game. People do that shit all the time. We just saw, we just saw uh who was that? Halliburton's dad that came on the court and got into Wimby's face. Like, what the hell are you doing? And all of these when the parents try to insert themselves and become the spotlight, become the story, that's a problem. That's a problem because they're not gonna win. You're not gonna win. The internet is undefeated. The only person that got a better record than the internet is Father Time. Remember when John Morant's dad went at Shannon Sharp, didn't end up well for him, and Shannon Sharp was clearly in the wrong. Not necessarily in the wrong, but you being a media personality, that's not the way you handle yourself. But guess what? When somebody get in your face and say some certain things at the wrong time, school's out. Oh, I got you, Keisha. When she was saying me too. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So people do this type of shit all the time. I wish there was an incident in Philadelphia. I want to say 2 seasons ago. where fans that sit right on that bottom rung where the wall is, and you got about, I don't know, 15 to 20 yards to where the benches are. But fans that lean over and talking shit to the players, that happens at every stadium at every game. But this particular time, these guys from the Buffalo Bills, I think it was Linval Joseph and somebody else, um, fans just got to him. And the dude came over in the stands and he smacked this dude in the stands. And I was like, oof, oof, you're gonna have a big ass fine because Roger Goodell gonna get you for that. Cameras see that. Then if the fan decides to sue the player, that's a whole nother set of circumstances. It's like you can't do that. So the best thing you can do, that's part of it. When you're a professional athlete, part of it is you got to take the shit from the people in the stands. Don't make it right, but that's why they pay their money. So you look at that situation. You look at Halliburton's dad's situation. You look at Angel Reese's mom when her and Flage's mom was going back and forth, and they came to story. You look at Jaden Daniels' mom is the story. Why is the mom always involved? Why she had to sit between him and Juju? And when the parents become part of the story, what happens is the internet comes for the parents, and it can be really, really not nice. And some of them saying racial slurs and just MFers and you know how people do on online. And you coming at somebody's parents and the child of that parent that's got to go play night after night. Now that's another thing they got to deal with because pretty soon one of the reporters is going to bring that up. So now they got two things to worry about. Parents are not going to win. Get out of your get out of their limelight. Because if you become part of the crosshairs, it's not going to be a good thing. Because what do you think a player is supposed to do if you get half the internet talking shit on their moms or talking shit on their dad? It's worse for moms because you always going to have that element where people going to try to make it spicy and get real disrespectful. So again, back to my old ass in these war games references, the only winning move is not to play. And some of these parents, you trying to live vicariously through your kids, you're going to fuck around and find out. So it's crazy. Dave, you can interview parents. You can interview parents. Just they don't need to be part of the story. When Halliburton's dad did what he did, that was after the game. And they shaking hands, and he went up in Wemby's face. Wemby's like, he ain't that dude. So why you go up in his face and do that? When John Morant was getting in all kind of trouble because he the one to put on Instagram with the guns. He did that. He grown ass man. And then when people report on it, then the parents want to get mad, and all of that situation happened at I guess it was the Lakers game. I think it was. I don't know where it was, but I know John Morant's dad stepped to Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp didn't take too kindly to it, and they had words, and then that was on the news everywhere. And then what do you think John Morant gets asked at every press conference? So what happened with your dad? What's going on with Shannon Sharp? So now he got a whole nother element that he got to deal with that has nothing to do with the game. And if people don't understand how mental it is at the professional level, the level of mental toughness that you have to play a professional sport, most people have no basic concept. You just don't. All you see is the product on Sunday or on Saturday night or various times during the week for the NBA and WNBA. But most people don't have any earthly idea the type of mental toughness and the focus that you got to have to do that at that level every night, every week, and still deal with the backlash and the people on the keyboards. Whole nother ball game. So people just gotta. I'm hoping. Um, Jaden Daniels' mom falls back a little bit because it's only a certain amount of time, and she gonna start catching it. She gonna start catching strays. Look at what happened with Brittany Mahomes and his little brother Jackson. Don't nobody like that kid anyways. And now it's to the point every time that kid do something, people are just come for the neck. So, everybody gets a turn, man. Everybody gets a turn. You look at what happened with Saquon. Saquon was the darling of the NFL. Broke the 2,000 rushing yard mark, was the offensive MVP of the league, and won the Super Bowl. Then he goes to the White House, and everybody loses their shit. Just in that moment, so many people in this fan base was like, "Up, I'm done with him." There's people that have done a lot worse than go visit Trump, and they still support him. People forget the New York Giants had a punter on their team that was guilty of abusing his wife. And the organization knew it, and they still gave him a new $3 million contract. Only reason they cut him was because the wife put her memoirs or whatever she wrote in the news. She put it out to the public eye. So the Giants didn't have a choice but to deal with it. What was the Giants, I believe? Giants or Buffalo, I think. But they still signed him. They signed him to a contract knowing what he had done. And he was just a kicker. So just imagine some of the stuff that they would do to clean up the mess if you got a quarterback or your franchise player or whatever the situation is. So it was crazy. It was crazy, man. Parsons' brother. Yeah, man. Everybody want to be a part of the problem. Everybody want to be a part of the problem. So it's like, man, just let's go back to the old school. I'm old. I'm a 70s baby. Back when folks used to tell you to mind your business. Just mind your business. So, but damn, we got into that, man. I didn't even get a chance to talk about the Eagles. But listen, OTAs are about to start. I'm gonna see, since I'm off this week, I'm gonna try to see if I can get to a practice. I don't know if they'll let me come to practice. Uh Maybe they'll give me a little bit of grace because I'm alumni, but I'll ask. I'm supposed to go play in a golf tournament too in June 9th, I think. So, but with OTAs, same thing I was saying earlier about, it's too early to really have any type of opinion on the W. Same thing with OTAs, and I know everybody's gonna lose their shit when OTAs start. Everybody's gonna just lose it. Everybody's gonna go ham and go so far the other way, and it'll be like, you know, Shador Sanders throws a dime in practice with the Browns, and it's like, man, he threw a regular 10-yard out. It was a good pass. It wasn't a dime. It wasn't a game winner, and that's what people do. They take the most mundane thing and they blow it up out of proportion, and they do that with everybody, every sport. Just take your favorite player. If you like LeBron, LeBron's the best thing since sliced bread. If you hate LeBron, he flops too much. You get it on both sides. And I know specifically when we talking about football and the Eagles, we still on this hangover. We still drunk off the Super Bowl victory. We still picking Kansas City's teeth out the bottom of our boots because we kicked their teeth in like that. So we still drunk off of that. But OTAs happen. Everybody wants to see Jihad. He's hurt. He's probably not going to do too much. I want to see, me personally, I want to see Jihad play, but I know what the situation is. I want to see Nakobe Dean on the field because I like Nakobe Dean personally. I've had a chance to meet him. Went to his football camp last year. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to go again this year. And he's a solid dude. I want to see him thrive. I want to see him come back from that knee injury. So I want to see the rookies. I want to see Ty Robinson. I want to see all these dudes getting busy on the field, but you gotta use realistic expectations. Realistic expectations. So Uh, yeah. Meanwhile, we see you talking about Shador Sanders. We don't see anything of Gabriel. And you know what? I find it funny after all of that hoopla and all of that rigmarole with Shador Sanders, and I could be wrong because I'm not in Cleveland, so I don't know what the coverage is like. But I saw an interview with Stefanski talking about Shador Sanders. I haven't seen that with any of the other quarterbacks. He ain't talked like that about Flacco. I haven't seen him talk like that about Gabriel or about anybody else. Deshaun Watson, nobody. So they trying to make a point to tell you how good Shador Sanders is. Well, yeah, you can do that because you know you got him at that bargain basement price. But in any case, pump your brakes. Enjoy OTAs, and you're going to see a couple good plays. You're going to see a couple of good things, and just remember, if a receiver makes a great catch, who was guarding him? I don't want to hear about Jalen Hurts throwing dimes against air, and he threw a 30-yard pass, and they was just warming up. That's the type of stuff that happens now. They take the mundane and they want to blow it up. So, Philly, I'm with you, man. I don't know if I'm happy he went to Cleveland, but you know, I represent my Ohio team, so I want to see him. I'm only happy he goes to Cleveland if he starts, if he plays and makes a difference. That's what I'm happy. I want to see Cleveland. I'm an Ohio boy, so yes, Cincinnati is my squad, but I rep the Browns. I had a Brian Sight poster on my wall when I was little. Come on now. Um, I want to see Gabriel Hall, Tiff. I want to see him too. I just want to see guys succeed. Um, I got a I got a bigger, I guess, stake is the wrong word, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm more interested in seeing what Shador does because of what they did to him. Because of what they did to him. There have been plenty of people. I don't care if he interviewed bad or not. There have been plenty of people who got drafted in the first rounds that had much worse interviews, that had a much worse history at their college, drunk DUIs and essays and all of that type of stuff. There's been people that were much worse than Shador Sanders and still got drafted in the first round. So while yes, he probably didn't do himself any favors in the interview process by some of his behavior. But at the end of the day, you can look at the track record and you look at the NFL with an arched eyebrow, like, come on, really, really, this is what you mad at? This. So you mad at because he didn't do the install right with the Giants? That's what you mad at? And you know, oh boy, had 2 DUIs in college. You stop. The Eagles had a dude going to the Super Bowl in 22. Going to the Super Bowl that week, lawyers released, I don't know if they re-released, I don't know what the situation, but the dude was involved in a sexual assault case. That happened 3.5 years ago. And they just decided to wait the week they were supposed to travel. The kid didn't travel. He didn't participate in the game. So now and then after all of that, he was exonerated. So she was lying. But you've taken the moment. She won that battle. The most important thing on this earth is time. That is the most expensive element on this earth because you cannot get it back. And she took that kid's time. She took his opportunity to go to his first Super Bowl as a professional athlete. And she took it because he didn't travel. He didn't participate in the game. We lost that year, but still, that experience, she took that from him. So she won. This man, this shit is scandalous now, bro. Scandalous. And people better and that goes back to my point. All of these parents trying to get too involved and too visible in these kids' athletic endeavors. And now that you got NIL and the transfer portal, you front and center. You can't hide behind it like you used to do it. Dawn Staley said, Mylasia Fawali and her mom came into my office. Her mom don't make jump shots. So we gonna see a lot more of that. But man, they better be careful. You gonna fuck around and find out. But all right, man, I'm gonna get out of here. I ran a little bit late, but I'm not at work, so I'm good. So, but I'm gonna get out of here. I will probably be doing me and Tom will probably be doing our show tonight, assuming that he gets his power back and the internet and all of that type of stuff. So if not, I'll probably go solo again. Um, and then we'll me and Tom will hook up sometime during this week. We'll make it happen. So we're gonna be bringing more Eagles news to you. I will keep you posted on what golf tournament I'm going to. I will be getting some content together for that too. So that should be fun, man. So, but I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna go get me something to eat for lunch. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to y'all on the next one. Peace and go birds.